Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Hope you're all well. Looking forward to today. We're in Colombia and Cali, to be precise, at the Teikof Studio Scenery here at Cali and at Santa Marta today for this shortish flight in the Boeing 727-200 recently released for Microsoft Flight Simulator from the folks at FSS. We're here at Cali, some IFR conditions, some pretty decent scenery for the price. It's available in the marketplace, on Sim Market and a few other locations around the Tinternet. And we're off today to fly some short runway ops, just to throw ourselves a little bit of the challenge on the VATSIM network with our fellow Osprey pilots around us. David, good afternoon. Nicholas, welcome. Badger, Zato, good to see you guys. Tim, welcome. It's out now. It's €40, 42 US dollars. And today we are harnessing our inner Aerosucre and flying around Colombia, hauling some stuff. Hit like, hit subscribe, share your thoughts in the live chat as we fly along. We've got the Siva INS for today as well, and the runway in Santa Marta. The arrival airport for today is pretty short. It's like 1,500 meters or something, I think, from the top of my head. So looking forward to it. It should be quite a good one. We're over here, Lima 1 for the cargo apron. Nice to see a BAE 146 cargo there as well, looking awesome. Lots of variety today. There's a triple which is just insane, and an MD-11 as well. I'm not quite sure they're going to fit when we arrive, but their survivability is probably higher than mine, so we'll see how we get on. It's going to be an interesting departure as well, because Cali, there's the jet below. The sort of airport here at Cali is surrounded by mountains, and we can't even see them because of the intensity of this fog at the moment. Very early morning in Cali. And you'll see on the charts how hazardous this potentially is going to be. We've got GSX fired up as well for the day, and looking forward to it. There's the aeroplane, cold and dark. I've just released, I think from last night, no, this morning, sorry, I've just released some tutorial videos covering how to operate this handful of a bird, shall we say. Should be quite good. So hopefully those 3 videos are going to help you get started with a bit of confidence without too much complexity, and those 3 tutorial episodes are available now on the channel. What do we got? Let's have a little look here. Dive into the aeroplane. Weird bit of drone work going on there. And yeah, cold and dark, here we are. We can pop the windows open just for a load of extra noise if we want to. And we're going to make use of things like the crew manager today, which is really handy in getting the flight engineer's station all configured for us throughout the day. And we will sort of see how we get on, really. Pop the hatch. And we'll get GSX fired up. And we'll request boarding to load all of this stuff. Good afternoon, the commentator. Let's get the clipboard open then, and we'll open the forward entry and all the cargo hatches. Lots of noise. It's not going to let us do the aft stairs, is it? Because of the hydraulics and things, but we'll see how we get on. Pretty cool aeroplane, it's got to be said. It's a short flight of about 1 hour 10 for today, so it's going to be over pretty quick as it starts. And they've done pretty well with the sounds and things as well. I mean, my biggest criticism with FSS really is with the E-jets. I find them woefully inadequate, and they've actually, in my opinion, let the community down with their promises of a custom FMS, custom LNAV, custom VNAV, all of the stuff that hasn't arrived yet, and it's just not acceptable to have those products in early access still 2 years later, lacking the features they promised would be in a year ago. But this is a totally separate product. Doesn't have a VNAV, that's probably why. But it's actually, from what I've been experiencing over the last sort of 4 or 5 days that I've been flying it and learning it around my real-time work, it's been pretty exciting and actually something quite different as well. Very old school. There's the Siva INS, and if you've missed the preview videos, you can, if you don't want to use that, use the GTN XI, the PMS GTN 750, or the GNS 530 if you want to. But we've got that Siva INS selected for today. And did I download that? Yeah, there we go. Imported Sib brief weights for flight plan, Cali to Santa Marta. And we're going to start the loading process. And we're going to pop the crew phone out and hit that pre-flight check switch. And it's pointless doing anything else because we need those weights there to stabilise. They're all going to whiz around and do their things. There's the cargo coming on. So the flight engineer is going to be doing a whole load of fire tests around the aeroplane, getting things configured, and momentarily get the APU switched on. There we go. And if you don't want to use that, you can use this checklist here, the flight engineer, to work through their flow. But this is designed to be flown with 2 pilots and a flight engineer. And one of the comments on one of the tutorial videos is it would be nice, they basically said it would be quite nice to be in a position where they have, for example, some sort of system that allows you to learn it and then basically handle it all together. But it's very much like the DC-6. There is too much to do for one person, because a lot of the things that are going to happen in this panel here, for the flight engineer seated in this seat, is going to be happening whilst we're trying to fly and navigate the aeroplane. So we just can't make that work realistically with one person. Hence why that crew manager here is so useful and so important to us. I'm going to hit B to just sort out the QNH there. And we can turn our attention then to the INS. So we're going to move it to the standby position to power it on. Teikof, welcome. Creator of the scenery, welcome to Cali, says. Glad to have us flying around Colombia. Teikof Studio, of course, during the preview video of the 727, they'd created that other airport we flew into that's positioned on that cliff. The name of it now passes me, I can't quite remember where it was, but really good fun, that approach. We almost did that for today. Let's move this to the align position. And with that, we need to go to POS and begin to insert our waypoints and our coordinates. So the charts now, super important. If you don't have access to the charts, you can on your web browser use your SimBrief OFP, for example, and that will have all of the coordinates on there anyway in the same format that Navigraph have got it here. So this OFP section. But the charts are needed for this little bit. So we're at the Lima 1 cargo apron here. And we need to tell the aeroplane that we are there. So for that we need the charts. And it gives us the parking chart coordinates. Which for us today is this one. So we need to pop that in. And very much like the tutorial videos that I've done this morning, we need to go north. 0, 3, 3, 2, 5, 0, 3, 3, 2, decimal 5. North, insert, west, 0, 7, 6, 2, 3, decimal 2, insert. And the aeroplane will now begin the alignment process, and with that we can see the status page there. It will start at about 100 and it will work down towards 0 basically, and the closer it is to 0 the better the alignment, in short. Matthew, good morning matey. Zato's got a 187 rotation speed. Oh my god, you're definitely going through the fence. Andy, welcome mate. Flown on this in many times in the past, very exciting. I mean, there is going to be another, like a FMS option, and I can't remember the name of it now, but it's slightly more modern, and that's going to come in allegedly in about 3 or 4, or 2, I think about 3 months approximately, they've said. So that's now given us ready with the light on, but you can see there it's still counting down, so we don't need to rush. And we picked the short route today. Because it is quite time consuming on the ground, so I don't want to rush through any of this for you folks watching. If you're trying to work out now it's been available whether or not to purchase the aeroplane, hopefully this is going to give you kind of a bit of a live feel for it. 15. I tried to find the name of the thingy-me-bob from FSS. Oh, there we go. They're working on implementing the GNS XLS, an older generation FMS that also offers LNAV. However, its completion is expected after the initial release. So that's the bit that we were talking about a second ago. That's now as close as it's going to get for the alignment. So with that, we're going to flick that across to nav. Job's good. And then we can turn our attention to waypoints. So again, on the charts, we're going to use the OFP. If you're using SimBrief, then you can do the same. We're also going to have to change our runway. Look at that, Navigraph. Runway 01, 8 knot tailwind now all of a sudden. The weather there is decreasing and getting significantly worse every sort of 20-30 minutes at the moment, so it's going to be quite spicy. We're going to go with the flight log, and we need to sequence our waypoints. So the ULQ, or Tulua VOR, which is on 1177, has this for the departure. So initially 016 degrees, and then 025 degrees to 19.1 DME, followed by a inbound course of 205 to the Tulua VOR, and then from there heading off. And you can see there, they're the mountains all around us here in Cali. We're departing 01, so we're going northbound that way, without having to worry about the turn in the valley. G'day, Massive Simulation, welcome mate. But we've got to obviously keep an eye on, especially in this section, drift, because we might be in the clouds. We don't have a terrain radar really. Back to the OFP. We've now got a tailwind as well on 02, brilliant. It's getting worse all the time. We're in the right livery for it, aren't we folks? Right, so 16. 1, 2. I'm going to just make this pen a bit smaller. 1, 2. There's the Tulua VOR. 3, 4. We're not worried about the top of climb. Irigi. And there is a warning here at Irigi. Look, most critical Mora. 1180 feet at Isvom, sorry, which is there. Not Irigi, getting those confused. Pereira VOR 6. Matro 7. Isvon for the warning 8. And then the Rio Negro VOR number 9, which will then cause us to continue the sequence because we've only got 9 in the carousel. So now we need number 3 again. Kangri. Top of descent is there. Dani at 6. And look for the final approach 7. So we're going to have to use the carousel pretty much twice in its entirety. Look. So we're going to start with number 1. Doc, welcome matey. Tell me one reason why 727s exist even when we have Poggers 73 and 757s. I don't know. Right, so waypoint 1, we've got to flick the carousel across, never kind of put it in waypoint 0. This is our live current position basically. So waypoint 1, waypoint mode selected, and we begin with north 0, 3, 4, 1, 9er, insert west 076 21.3, insert 2, north 0347, decimal 4, west 076 196. Got to really make sure we put these in accurately, folks. 3 north 04055 west 076 134 076 13.4 4. Gonna pop this closed. Quite a noisy aeroplane, this. So number 4 north 0415 9er 0415.9, insert west 07607.5. Number 5 Irigi. Bit better for you folks watching if I just hide that there. So Urigi number 5 north 04272 04272 0427.2, insert west 076 01.2, insert number 6 north 04469er west 075502 7 north 0508 decimal 5 5085 west 752 75 426 075 42.6. You end up doubting yourself with these. Afternoon, Dwar, welcome. You end up doubting yourself when you're putting these in. You kind of end up double, triple checking them, and you do need to, really. You really do. 0524 3, and then all the numbers end up blending into one. 075 37.1, and then number 9, which is as far as we can go, is the Rio NDB north 0558 decimal 8 west 0 7 5 2 5 1, insert, and then it recycles back to 0, which is our current position. Look, so there we go. There's our first 9 waypoints in the box, and that's pretty much it. The distance time tab here is going to be really useful for us. It's telling us how far to each waypoint we're going to have to run, and therefore we can see how far we've got for each bit, and we'll use that for the top of descent marker as well to work out when we're going to start our descents. And then we've got, what else have we got? We get the alert thing illuminate when we get close. We'll go from there. Yeah, for those of you who want to see the back door, that's all finished. Jolly good. Oh good, it's open again now, so we've got hydraulics. In fact, I can walk from the flight deck to it. We're not in a rush, are we? There we go, Aerosucre. Nice, MD-11. We'll go through the cargo. And again, this can't be changed just yet. Again, like I said in the preview, I'm really not a fan of the horses in the back in the bloody cage. I really don't like that. But it is what it is. Putra, Astato, welcome. Hello. Do you have to put in the SID as well, or can you fly the SID manually using VOR and start the INS waypoint from the last SID point? You can. That's a good suggestion. You can do that if you wish. The reason why I've added the waypoints in on the OFP for the VORs is more for my own kind of peace of mind, flying in the valley more than anything else. So here's the door. DB Cooper, let's go! There we go. And you can pop out into here and you'll have that massive engine 2 exhaust coming through there as well, which I'd imagine is bloody hot after a long flight for passengers to walk out under. Crazy, right? And the APU isn't in the back. The APU is in fact intake, I believe, and then the exhaust is like in here. Which is really strange and peculiar, but that's just how it's designed, because obviously it's got these 3 engines and therefore there's no space for an APU in the back. But the APU is basically in the belly. I wonder if we can actually see the vent on this. There we go. There's a cooling fan exhaust door. If you want to see the landing gear well, because I know some of you like to see all this. There you are. Yeah, the APU's exhaust is that, I believe, off the top of my head. It's bloody noisy. It's such a loud aeroplane. And in fairness, I think the sound transitions and stuff, the soundscape is pretty good. APU vents on the top of the right wing, Darren says. There we go. You guys are a bit more familiar with the layout. There it is. Ah, yes. Look at that. Such a weird aeroplane, right? God damn it, Dave. Where should we put the APU? Ah, stick it on the wing. Good old Boeing. Right. Let's pop the stairs closed. And to be fair, we could probably get them closed as well. Parking brake is set. We're going to have a look at the charts once again on the Tulua 1 Bravo. There's the Cali VOR there, which we shan't worry about too much unless this tailwind's got really bad, but 2 knots should be okay. And the runway length is 3,000 meters with an elevation of 3,162 feet. So a bit tough for the aeroplane today. But the Tulua 1 Bravo heading out to 17.1. Let's get that tuned in there into the nav. 17.1. Oops, we should therefore. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna have a heart attack in this aeroplane. The amount of noise. Oh dear. Right, 1228. We're not even gonna get out of Cali alive. Oh god, I need a drink. Oh my goodness. It's alright, it's a bit of speed tape will solve that. Oh jeez. Right, wait, that's completely thrown me. Right, we're good. So, initially, that radial there of 205 is what we want to kind of try and focus on aligning against. So we're going to turn the wheel and we want to pop that course onto an inbound radial of 205. Like so. And the runway heading initially for us is going to be 016 degrees, which is a little bit fiddly. If I go really close to this, just so you can see, it's a bit clunky. So you've got 02502, 01501. So it's about there, 016 for the heading. .117.7. Good spot. I've not long come off night shifts, so I'm a little bit all over the place, as I usually am after nights. But that's the course all set, ready to go. And where are we then? Initial altitude's going to be climb above 13,000 feet. So we'll set 14. The cruise today is flight level 300. We'll set 14 to begin with. What else do we need to think about? Pop that on heading mode. Engine starts up there. Window heats. We probably have those on, but the chap is going to help us with that in the crew manager momentarily. So what we're going to do is go to GSX, prepare for pushback and departure. And because we've done everything, we can also, yeah, the loading and everything is all complete here. We can now go to the, takeoff tab, resync the weather, select 02, choose the flap setting that we want. We'll use flap 15. EPA trim set and speeds set, like so. So what we've got now is the EPA value set there on the aeroplane, and we've set the trim value, which is 525, just about there. And then the V speeds, 134 for rotate, 135 for V2, and then we will be up and away. So let's pop that away. Wait for the ground pin. Oh, Andy, nice, very exciting. What day is it today? Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I think I'm working on Sunday. I might be around the airport. It's quite good to watch some of these before start checks. So when we press the button in a second for the crew manager, with the flight engineer is going to work through this before start check here. So you can see pilots, flight attendant briefing complete, gear lever lights down and check, brakes parked, start levers are off, flight instruments have been checked, altimeters and clocks are set and cross-checked. We've checked the brake pressure, radar and transponder needs to go to standby. The transponder's up here. It says on and out at the moment, so let's pop that back towards off. We'll set 2000. Cali traffic, Aerosucre area 165, radio check.
555. 555.
Nice. Radar transponder set, exterior lights checked, emergency exit lights have been armed. Clunk, there we go. Seatbelts and no smoking signs on, window heat on, which I've already done. Look at me, I'm learning the plane. I've got further with these than I did. Nav lights need to go to the on position there as well, silly me. Oddly enough, that's not in the pre-flight check, which to me, you know, it's always been if there's power to the aircraft, then you need to get your nav lights on, but hey ho. No smoking seatbelt signs, that's all set. Window heat's already on, compass, slave, mag, radios have been on, I've just checked them, and the departure briefing is complete. So the next bit, emergency power, alternate flaps, stall warning, all of that is going to be the other before start checks, I think, because yeah, there we go, he checked the stall warning earlier, didn't he, actually? So he's already worked through all of this, I think. And then the engineer checks all of this bit. And then we've got the after start checks there. And all of this will be getting tweaked momentarily. So, we requested pushback, didn't we? Good old GSX playing up. Ben, it is 40 euros or 42 US dollars. So convert that to whatever currency you've got. Currently it's only available exclusively for a week on Aerosoft. Prepare for pushback and departure, there we go. And we'll stick with Talma because that's what we had a second ago. So in about a week's time, you'll be able to get it on Contrail for those of you who wanted to potentially, pursue and look after the channel. When you order it using the affiliate link to help kind of support the channel at no extra cost. Oh look, he's floating. Side note, every time I fly the MD-11, when I return back to the menu, for some reason it crashed to desktop. And it's a bit weird, I don't know why, but it is what it is, I guess. Okay, so he's now loading the ground pin, we've caged that, we've done the rest, we've checked the nav, we've got all that set up. Going to have a quick check of the OFP to see how far the next VOR is. So, Talua, Pereira at 16.0. (16.0) and Rio Negro 15.1. (15.1) Osprey Sucre. Where did you learn this initially when you released the tutorial videos, the French Toast asks? So about a week prior to getting the preview versions for content creators to use, FSS did like a live stream with an internal thing for content creators that were going to be given an early access, and we basically sat for 2.5 hours watching them fly the aeroplane. They're discussing elements of it, and with that, that's kind of how we learn. Spot 3 North, got a custom profile for this, very good. Okay, before start checks.
Cali traffic, FedEx 5 Lima Mike will push back on Romeo facing east, Cali traffic.
Pause the music for now. And I might open the windows again just so you can hear the noise of the engines as we start up, unless you want them closed to hear them. Let me know in the live chat. So heading, that's all good, that's all set, nav set. So we've got the EPA values, speed bugs, altimeters all set. INS is aligned and ready to go, and waypoint 1 is selected, 10 miles, and it's on sequence 0 to 1, which is our current position, to waypoint 1, and it should then, in auto mode there, automatically change from 1 to 2 when we get a bit closer. Flight engineer's going to do some bits, that's all off. Park brake's still on, let's remove the chocks and cones. Okay, and all the doors closed there. So pre-flight's finished, we've done all that. I hope we make it. In fact, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to run this through the SimBrief Performance Planner tool and see if this offers me anything intelligent for the purpose of the pre-flight planning today. Let's have a look. 727 HPA. Let's go to meters and HPA. Yeah, we'll use probably quite a bit of the runway, to be fair. Headwind component of 2 knots, and it's suggesting flat 15. That'll do us nicely. The system works. Okay, so spot 1. Continue. Spot 3 north. He's pushing back. They're all pushing back. Cali traffic, Aerosucre 165, stand Lima 1, QNH 1018, push start, facing north on spot 3 from cargo. Park brakes off. The question is, where is spot 3? Oh, there it is. Ta-da! Here we go! Look how low those wings are. Oh, you know what I forgot? Beacon. Oh no, the beacon light is on. Good. The flight engineer did that for me. Okay, so engine 3 ground. Let's go. Watching the N2. Nox says, will I be doing videos using cold and dark with the flight engineer instead of the virtual assistant? What do you mean with the flight engineer? Do you mean actually sitting and doing it myself? 320. Good control lever to run. It's going to get noisy. Watching the temperature. 420 is the value we want. Ooh, it's a hot start. Let's get that METAR back in the thing, in the chat for you folks watching. That looks pretty stable. Let's go engine 1, ground. Close that guard. The 3 starter. That'll return itself to the normal position. So doing the pre-flight before start and after chat entirely yourself. I'll have a little look to see how comfortable I get with it really. Willie Canuck, welcome mate, through 21 run. Always try and make sure your throttles are in the kind of proper idle position before you start, because otherwise you'll end up seeing the temperature rise higher. But 420 is roughly the value that you do want. That's going all the way up to like 460-ish. Willie Canuck says TriStars were always very noisy. I remember sitting in the back of a L1011 on transatlantic flight, couldn't hear for a week. My god, there's the air temperature, 20 degrees for the air temperature today. Okay, so that's 2 engines ready to go, so that's 1 and 3 started. So let's pop that back. So you can see there it should not let us go into the ground position. So flight was working, but ground's now locked. Look, anyway, 2, lift the guard, ground. Big old FedEx. Parking brake set. All pressure's off. N2's about 20. Add the fuel. This one's got a slightly higher temperature there. Look, 460. There goes the exhaust temp. That looked about 460.
And traffic, Osprey Secret 116, testing currently 02, via Golf, Lima.
We can only face north because the taxiway takes us down there and then down that bit.
We will be holding short of signal.
If you're going to use TDS GTN XI for departures, by the way, you need to flick that down to GPS. Just a little tip there. Right, so engines all look good. Working down the box there. Everything's stable. Pop the engine start switch back to norm for 3. And then we're going to get the crew manager back out again. So we're going to do the after start checks, which is going to follow. Sorry for the camera stuff. This is what I mean about it being a bit tricky. After start, levers idle detent, beacon lights are on, engine anti-ice as required. It's not going to be needed today, I don't think. Electrical power check, boost pumps check, B pumps on, which is that one there. Hydraulic pressure check and lights out. Now, what it's going to do is change the essential power when we click it in a moment across to AP, from AP to about Gen 2 usually. So what it needs to do is begin to synchronize these frequencies. This is something I've not yet talked about in a tutorial video because the flight engineer, the crew manager, when you click the button does it for you. But you need to sync the frequency, which is just over 400 there, look, for the APU, with the generators. So you've got to make sure the generators for the engines are at the same frequency as the APU before you turn them off. So for that, we're going to go to Gen 1 and we're going to move the frequency up until the lights stop flashing. And you can see there, we've pretty much got that matching. Go one more, and actually now we're too far out. Gen 2. It's almost there, so because it's closer, the lights will flash at kind of lesser intervals. So look, we go really far away, it's flashing away like mad. And then when we get on it, the lights go out. Gen 3, again, We know roughly where we need to go. We get a bit closer, one click at a time, see how it responds, and that's all good. So that's just showing you roughly how to synchronize all of those, but effectively you close the generators and things like so. And after start checks, we can click that, and basically the flight engineer will work through all of that. That's just a little indicator of kind of how we were doing stuff a second ago. Look, it is working through that flow. So I think I did 1, 3 and 2, well, I can't remember now, just to show you how it's doing it. And then it's working through the aft boost pumps there as well, look, making sure all of that is on and set as required. It will do the hydraulic system B elect 2 pump as well. We'll turn that on, but it's already on because we've already done that. Taxi light checks then, flaps and runway. We need flaps 15. Make sure it is seated in 15, good. And we'll wait for that to go green. First flap 2 and 5 are slats, and then flap 15 is a bit slower because it's extending the flaps really slowly. We can do control checks while we're here as well. The ailerons, and you can see the elevators and things there as well. Well, that's interesting. My rudders seem to be ineffective. That's very odd. Let me just check something on my setup, folks. Right, oddly enough, we'll keep default. That's really weird. There we go, got rudder pedals back. They seem to have deactivated themselves, even though that's not an option on my Windows. Okay, so after the start checks are done, we can then press taxi. We can pop the taxi lights on as well, and we can pop auto brake RTO. It's going to work through turning the probe heats on there, which is all those lights just gone off, and we can make sure that all of these things here, the engine start switches are guarded, and the anti-skid there, which he will have tested, will be closed and guarded as well. There's the taxi light checks done already. So parking brakes off, and a bit of power to get us rolling. Look at this. So foggy. You have to punch in all the coordinates, Willie, which we showed about 30 minutes ago. I've done it on a tutorial video as well if you wanted to kind of go and check that out. So a bit of power. Cali traffic, Aerosucre 165's out of spot 3 cargo, taxi into the hold point 02. Quick dab of the brakes. And then now we're rolling, we can bring that power back to idle. So, pop that heading bug back on again. Nice FedEx MD-11 there. And we want to make sure in the turns, didn't really talk about this in the tutorial too much, but the compass, for example, we want to make sure is moving. So we've got right turn, and the compass is moving right. Same with the left turn as well. There goes the BA-146 Whisperjet. Beautiful aeroplane. Just Flight have been doing some really good work on updating their products for MSFS recently. Let's pop the windows closed. There we go. Get a bit of peace and tranquility again. I've been told I think it does simulate some sort of INS drift, but I'm not entirely sure how I can show that in kind of these short flights and things. such a clunky flight deck, isn't it? What have we got? 1228. So 17.1 is our first VOR. Then it's going to be nav 1 to 16, and then the third VOR is 15.1. Nice reflections on the nav lights there. I think the flight engineer will have turned the APU off now. Have a quick look. Yes, mid-turn.
And traffic Oscar 1146 at Kilo holding short Alpha will let the traffic pass from left to right and will continue taxiing to runway 02 at Alpha.
So we're going to get to 30,000 feet. Just as a reminder for the departure, if you're just tuning in, we're in the middle of this valley here in Cali, Colombia, and we're going to head out of Colombia towards, out of Tulua, out of Cali towards the Tulua VOR. Climbing up in the valley at least above 13,000 feet. So the transition level here is 18,000 like in the US, which makes things a little simpler for us. And don't let me forget, folks, when we're on the descent, I've got to set the transition level because my workload's so high in this that I end up forgetting those little bits. Beautiful 777. Another MD-11 there. Osprey World cargo livery. And we're going to need every bit of runway we can get here. So we're going to use the full length. Just from memory, French toast. This is my fourth flight in the 727, third flight? Fourth flight in the 727. But I've never, I haven't practiced this route, so this is all raw. Not sure what to expect from it really today. I've basically just done Miami to Santa Marta multiple times, and that's it. So I'm sure lots of mistakes will be made throughout the day. You'll have to bear with me with those.
Thank you very much, Osprey 1146, following the Aerosucre 727 to runway 02.
Well, it's as used to see these guys take off from Hamilton, Ontario all the time. They always rotated very late. Yeah, you'll see some rotation here. If I just spin this around, very easy to get tail strike, really easy to get wing strike here. So the rotation's not going to go beyond sort of 7 degrees realistically, and then you just kind of have to set it and hold it and hope you've calculated your performance properly to get airborne. Cali traffic, Aerosucre 165's lining up our Alpha 2, runway 02. Okay, so before takeoff checks, I'm also going to make sure that's flicked all the way across, and we want to make sure we've got as much of this as we can get. Strobes on, runway turn off, lights on, taxi lights can stay on as well. Following that around. Full takeoff, green. Point and pray, Willie says. Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, it's a good way of explaining it, actually.
727 depart. We will be lining up runway 02.
Okay, so I'm literally using as much of this as I can get. into the fog. We know we've got mountains on the left, mountains on the right. We've just got to hope we've got this sorted out sensibly. And a VOR approach on the other end with decreasing visibility. Bit of power just to keep us moving here. So again, I still haven't solved the keybind issue with my Honeycomb Bravo with this 727, unfortunately. So we might get like a twitchiness of the rotary knob there, the landing gear lever. We might not even get it moving at all when I set it to kind of the up position. So there we go, that's about as good as we can get. Let's straighten the nose wheel. We are ready. So just a final check to make sure we are happy. We've already briefed the departure, we know what we're doing. The continuous ignition look is currently, ooh, it's off, it says. Yeah, there's no reference to it there in the charts. I'll leave it open because I suppose if we go into icing, we'll probably have to put continuous ignition to the on position. Anyway, we'll just make that up as we go. Full Aerosucre style. Okay. Cali traffic, Aerosucre 165 is taking off 02 to Lua 1 Bravo departure. Cali. Stick forward a little bit. Getting my thrustmaster Boeing issues there, so brakes off, power. Maintaining that centre line. Okay, takeoff power set. Speed's now just come alive. Keeping that nose wheel pressure forward ever so slightly. 80 knots. Through 100, we can just make sure that sticks back in a neutral position. Ah! 120, come on! There's the end of the runway, V1, rotate. 5 degrees, no more, holding it. Come on, girl. And we're airborne. Positive 8 gear up, there's my keybind issue. Jesus Christ. Okay, into climb pitch. And I'm just holding 180 now. So turn nav, that's all set. We want IAS mode and heading select. Alt select armed, autopilot engaged, and we're just going to maintain 170 for now actually, that looks pretty good. There we go, we're up. With some weird visuals through the cloud actually behind. It's all the poo coming out behind us basically from that departure. Okay, so let's go to vertical speed mode now and just bring that nose down. And I've left it a bit more of a sporty departure there because of the altitude issues. And we can now go to Aux nav, waypoint 0 to 1. Vertical speed, so just bring that forwards a little bit, and we're going to set flap 5. Going to allow that speed to start coming up now as well. Through 180 and 200 knots. Let's bring that to flaps 0. Get them all tidied up and away.
Cali traffic, Osprey Sucre 1146, departure 02 to Lua.
Going to increase our vertical speed now.
Good luck.
That was so close, wasn't it? My goodness. Yeah, if you pull back any more than 7 degrees, you're probably going to tail strike the aeroplane. 250 looks good. Let's set IAS mode again. So now we're going to go back into the climb as we bust through the cloud. Look at this. Oh. Going to very quickly go back in here. We need to do the after takeoff checks. Quite the pitch, isn't it, in the climb? And a really horrendous bit of weather around us here this morning in Cali. Beautiful views though. Let's keep it running up to 300, which is our cruise for today. Just going to rearm that, just another little press. Through 10,000 feet already. It's already turned the landing lights automatically off for us with the crew manager, and the auto brakes have been disarmed. So just have another quick check of everything. Continuous ignition flick switch has been closed. Alright. So now we're inbound the VOR. So yeah, you could do this with kind of traditional VOR navigation if you wanted to.
Traffic Osprey Sucre 1146 with trees. Turn down, airborne, climbing slowly, 3,700.
Little wiggle there. Notice it does that when you intercept some of the waypoints. Look at this scenery around us, it's just stunning. I like that the anti-DB Cooper device was just a little wing on the door that made it impossible to open. So next stop to Lua VOR 17.7. And if you wanted to use the VOR instead, we could use the course that we set, which is 205, and you could use VL mode, or you could even just use the turn knob and set the heading and kind of track it manually, if that makes sense. And I'm just staying a bit slow just to keep the climb speed high for now, and we'll go back to vertical speed now because we are well above the 13,000 that we needed to be at Tallulah, so we can bring that climb speed, vertical speed down a bit and accelerate to 290-ish knots. Flaps are up, no lights, gear lever's now in the off position there. Scrub a bit more of that vertical speed off. Remember, there's no auto throttle in this. Vincent Van Beest, welcome on board. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. Hope you're well. Matthew says it's not a keybind issue. Is the co-pilot frantically trying to retract the gear? Getting a bit closer there, look. There is an auto throttle kind of button that you can enable, but I'm not using it. Let's go to local pressure. There's our call out. So we're going to go to 1013, which is 29902. Just about there. We can go into IAS hold. Alright, so through 18,000 then, and continuing the climb up to 30. And what you'll find, we're about to pass the Tallulah VOR. So there's our next waypoint, look, 3 miles to go. What you'll find is you can't change the turn knob, you can't change the heading mug when you're using the Siva INS, and that's because it is basically locking it for us and automatically sorting it. So there's our new heading, look, 042, 041 degrees. Zato, I think you're going to end up in the drink. We are going to have to change the runway though, so we're not going to land on 01 because it's got an 8 knot tailwind. There goes that VOR now tracking. So we can plop that across to 16.0 because we're not really using the VORs too much. And actually, if you just want a DME, you can just use that instead, which is nav 2. Keep that as it is at the moment. The speed bug's now changed again, but we're fine as we are. So where are we now? Waypoint 3 to 4, isn't it? And actually now going 4 to 5 already, so we are halfway through our waypoint sequencing already, folks, aren't we? Nox, it's an option. That's the auto throttle that we were talking about a second ago. Where is it? There, auto throttle switch show. I spoke about it in the other videos that I've done as well. So you can click that if you want, and it will give you an auto throttle engage disengage button. It's very, very rudimental though, very crude. But it's only really to be used in cruise, effectively. Sequence 4 to 5, heading towards Irigi, and the Pereira VOR 16.1. I think it's on a heading to 02. Let's flick that around. 026. Coming up. So we're going to go sequence 5 to 6. So let's start already replacing some of these waypoints then while the INS does its thing. So we're going to make sure the carousel is back on 1 and we're in waypoint mode. And we're going to replace number 1 with our new number 1. We're going to get as far as waypoint 4, which is the MGN VOR on the display there. So this is the second part of our waypoint sequencing. But the rest of the INS will still work away in the background because we've got that auto system on. If you want to do a direct to at any point, you can press waypoint change, and you can do sort of, if we wanted to go waypoint 7 direct, we could do waypoint change 07 insert, and it would give us our precise positioning, our current location in the world, which is there, all the way to that waypoint. But in any case, waypoint 1 is going to be Marinilla, so north 06106, insert west 075194, insert waypoint 2, Bivig, north 07012, insert west 07511, 07511.7, insert waypoint 3. We're kind of chasing the waypoints now, look. So north 0742, 0742, decimal 9er, insert west 0750554, insert waypoint 4, which is the MGN VOR. So north 09172, insert west 07450.8, insert. Got 9 miles to waypoint 6. And the whole time as well, the flight engineer, realistically, will be checking the cabin altitude as we're climbing up, checking all the systems, the fuel flow, the boost pumps, all of that sort of thing. There's some other checks there for us. Whilst we're dealing with the navigation and all the stuff around it. So 1,000 to go.
1,000 to go.
Check. Willie Cook says you should do a dead reckoning flight with real life VOR tracking. I could try. I think I'm so far. It was so long ago since I last did anything even remotely similar that I'd probably struggle for a few attempts. Waypoint 6 to 7. So I've left the carousel on 4, so I know that's as far as we have got. Let's get rid of the charts. Otherwise I can lose track of things. But yeah, pressure's looking good. Flight engineer station's pretty good. There's very little for us to do at the back there. There she is. The receiver is not tied to the HSI or PFD, but it is, if that makes sense. It shouldn't be, but it is. It's going to be runway 19, Darney 1 Delta. Which changes the arrival actually, because it means our OFP is going to be slightly different. And it's going to be VOR 01 for the approach. So we're basically just going to have to self-vector ourselves. The runway length, by the way, in Santa Marta, Simon Bolivar International Airport, is 1,700 metres. Usable length, though, is a bit shorter. And in fact, there are no usable lengths written on the charts. In fact, so we're looking at about 1,500 metres for the runway length. And either way, there's water on either side. And what do we want? Runway 19, didn't we, for the approach? So actually, we've only got an RNAV as an option. So we're basically just going to have to self-vector because we can't fly the RNAV stuff. It's an RMP approach. Should be good. Just keep an eye on the speed. Chatting away. We want to bring the EPA value down to about 2. a little bit of a sticky dial there by the looks of it. Set about 2 and just see how she settles. And we're already waypoint 7 to 8, crikey. Right, where's our charts again? 7 to 8 Metro Isfahan, waypoint 5 is our top of descent, so now we're going to pop that in. Because we're almost now recycling the carousel once more. So as we cross through that, let's put in 5, which is our top of descent marker as a kind of coordinate waypoint in the INS. North 09 23 decimal 8. Insert west 07 448 decimal 4. Waypoint 6, because we're going from 8 to 9 now. Darney, north 1009 decimal 3. West 07 431 decimal 9. About 1,500 meters long, flights and pilot. I did just say that. And then the Darney 1 Charlie shows Antelope there, doesn't it? Now that doesn't really help us very much, because we've naturally changed the arrival now. We're using runway 19, which is a headwind of 9 knots instead of a tailwind of 9 knots. And there's no way for me to kind of get the data for that by the looks of it, because it's not even included in the charts. But we're going to have to go 022 for 52.3 miles. Hopefully we will reach 5.5-ish miles from the Santa Marta VOR, which is 16.6, with a course of 306 set there as an outbound radial. And as we cross that, we should be at 5.4 miles, he says, and that's roughly then where Ukgon is going to be. A bit trickier, but that's the only way we can do this, realistically. And then RMP09, we've got Santa Marta VOR. So we'll be then on VORs at that point. But the actual approach we're going to be doing isn't even a VOR approach anymore, because, as you can see on the charts, runway 01 has got a VOR, but the VOR is all the way down in Santa Marta there, which is 20 miles away from the actual airport. so we can't even rely on that, because it shows there across the VOR 5,000, then down to 4,000 and all the rest. So instead we've got this to do, which is going to be immensely difficult. And I'm tempted to rerun a Sembri flight plan just to see what it gives us for coordinates here at Ansem, because we just can't rely on any of it. It's going to have to be completely hand flown. And what's the METAR? 180 at 9, wind, very variable winds. All the 9s, broken 15, 7, 27, 24, QNH 1014. Knox Gaming says, I'm confused, it's still a VOR approach with a visual final, why can't you fly it? No, I can't. We're not doing runway 10 anymore. Sorry, we're not doing runway 01, we're doing runway 19er. In fact, I've just thought to myself, we do circle to land? Yes. Only to the west. Right, that's how we're going to do this. We're going to configure for the VOR 01. We're going to fly. Probably the most sensible way to do this, really. Although our workload is going to increase significantly. We're going to fly to... Where's Antelope? Yeah, so we'll fly to Antelope, Santa Marta, VOR there 16.1, From there we're going to fly the VOR 01 approach, and then we're going to break off and hand fly a circling approach, because we need runway 19 and we can't do the RMP. We could hand fly this entire segment basically if we wanted to, but it's probably not wise. We're doing from 9 to 1 now, so we're about to sequence back. We are, yeah, time's really kind of running ahead. Oh, right, this is going to be really tough. It's not going to be neat, folks, I can guarantee you that much. Waypoint 6, Darney. We already put that in. North 109.3. And west 74319. Good. Waypoint 7 then. Which is going to be north 10507. West 07. Oops. West 074135. Insert, and I'm going to put the airport in anyway. North 11072, west 074138. Okay, where are we? Going 1 to 2 now on the sequence. So number 5 on the charts is our top of descent. New pilot, welcome. Yeah, this is going to be really hard. Why did I pick this? I do this to myself every time. It makes for good watching, I'm sure, but it's an absolute headache. What have we got? Oh, the QNH at Santa Marta is 1013 as well. Just realised I haven't set my standby instrument, so I'm just going to do that now. 112. So Santa Marta 16.6. I'm going to put in a little bit of the data now. 16.6. One 228 16.6. Let's flick that across. Still miles away, far too far away. In fact, maybe we can get the readout from there actually. 16.6, 17.7. See the amount of thought process involved with this aeroplane. 16.7 is the thingy VOR. What are we on now? 17.7. Not sure what that's for. We want 14.1. And we also want 13. Just for reference of things. Speed's pretty high, so I'm just going to drop the per value down 1.95 thereabouts. But it's stable where it is. As long as we're not racing towards VNE, I'm happy. But we're flying along pretty quick. Waypoint, sorry, EPO at 1.9 there. Look, you'll probably see that speed needle just drop down, trickle back towards Mach decimal 8. You've got to be ahead of kind of roughly where you are. So as you're sequencing through these waypoints, we've got 31 miles, 30 miles to waypoint 2 now, and the second sequence of our carousel, and that's going to be waypoint Bivig on our OFP. So inbound then the Maganga VOR 1141, which is that one we've got tuned in, and we've got 16.1 ready to go for the VOR Santa Marta. Oh yeah, Dwar, this doesn't actually rotate, matey. I tried, but they've not actually animated that, which is sad. It's a bit better, 1, 2, 1, 3. Doesn't quite sit where you want it either there, but that's fine. Right, inbound course of 012. We'll set that for the Santa Marta VOR. That's the inbound course of the VOR, and then at 6 miles we should break off. So just to kind of, well, we've got a bit of time in the calmness of cruise here. It's 6 miles, it's our missed approach point for the VOR 01. And then at that point we're going to go Innsbruck style. We're going to break off. That's going to be maybe 300 degrees. So what have we got here? We'll have north 27. We're about 320 degrees, I reckon. And we'll fly that until we're coming up to the kind of edge of the runway, and then we're going to run downwind 006, and that's going to be obviously with corrections for any drift with the wind. And it's 6 miles. Where is it? It's suggesting there that we should be about 1,000 feet. That's pretty low. I think roughly about 1,000 feet by the looks of it. What's the runway elevation? 22. We're just going to have to play this by ear, folks, I think. Might run it at 1500 just to give us a bit of time. And the minimums there, 14.10 look, so actually that works because we won't bust the minimums. With that then, we can set the rad out, which is 1402. What have we got here? 10 increments, isn't it? 10, 20, 30, 20, 30, 40, 50. So that's 1400 is probably as good as we're going to get. I'll just set that like so. It's 1402. That's quite close. And then we can set the MDA, which I'll pop this on 500 because realistically we can't really go much higher. Although actually thinking about it, no, these are thousands, aren't they? I think we'll find out. I'll set 1500 there. One click 1400. We'll see what it gives us. I can't remember off the top of my head now. We're already picking up VOR 2, which is 1410. And that is, jog my memory, where is it, Luke? The Magange VOR 1410 on the Whiskey 3 airway. We've got 40 miles to our next waypoint, which is number 3, Servo. So making some good progress. All is calm for now. It's a lot of work, isn't it, folks? What do you guys think so far watching in the live chat? Share your thoughts. How am I getting on? How are you finding the 727? Is it something that's of interest to you? Let us know. Welcome, matey. Says Arit took his 727 from East Midlands to Brussels, which was a canny route for a mix of VOR and INS. Worked like a dream. Loved hand flying as much as I could as well. Reminiscent of his FJS 727 in X-Plane 11. Nox Gamer says the approach is really gorgeous though for this. We're going to get pretty close to the hotels. And Aero Lovers, hello. Is the 727 for Microsoft Flight Simulator as good as the FlyJ Sim 727 for X-Plane, he asks. I don't know the answer to that myself because I've never used X-Plane, so I really don't know, to be honest. For the first time today, actually, let's have a look at Volanta. Pop in, I've got 5 screenshots. Got a few flying along there, which is cool. Badge is already near the arrival at Santa Marta. Look, there it is in this beautiful kind of valley. And we've been to, where is it? Cartagena, which is a V-Pilot simulation scenery before, a few weeks back, which is really nice. That was quite tricky as well. Santa Marta, also made by Teikof Scenery Design, which is the same developer that made the scenery at Cali that we've used for the departure today. Badger's got his... oh, it's the old school livery. OG. And then miles behind is us. We're being chased by Zato in his MD-11 freighter. He's in a plain white one. The screenshot's not working. Odd. Potentially, whoever that is might be flying along. I'm not sure. They're far from the same airport. Where's everyone else gone? No, they are different routes. We've got one at Medellin. Osprey 932. There we go. Slightly different routing. But it works out all the same. Brian, hello matey, says it looks too complicated for him. He did miss the start of the stream though. I mean, the INS, once you get used to the coordinates, isn't too difficult, but it's just a lot more manual, and you've got to think really far ahead of the aeroplane. Almost as far as you do in the DC-6 really, but you're not having to then fight with and manage 4 radial engines that want to cut out on you at all times. Waypoint 3 is next. That's 12 miles to go, that'll be servo. And then waypoint 5 in the sequence, folks, is going to be our top of descent. So I'm going to just move the carousel to 5 there, just so I've got a bit more of a reminder of which one my top of descent is going to be. Yeah, like Nox says, if we didn't have this crew manager helping us do things, we would have to manage the fuel heat throughout the flight and taxi. We'd have to manage the pack temperatures as well by operating the cooling doors throughout taxi, takeoff, climb, cruise, descent, landing, after landing. The airspeed bug automatically gets updated there. We could do it ourselves, of course, if we wanted to, but it's just one less thing to worry about. And then the EPA values will change throughout. And the fuel feed balances fuel automatically depending on tank quantity. So there is so much to do with this that it's too much for me. So I'm making good use of that crew manager really. So I've got a bit of automation to help me out. That's going to be after takeoff, descent approach. Fuel heat off there, look. Continuous ignition for landing goes on. I'm just trying to look through here because I'm thinking, why is hydraulic system B elect pump now off? And why are the boost pumps now off? I'm just trying to look through to understand. Because there we've got before takeoff, boost pumps and crossfeed values on and checked. And further up we've got B pumps somewhere in the list. There, B pumps on, after start. Ignition, seatbelt, landing light, logo light, gear. Hydraulic pumps checked, auto pack trip cut out. But this suggests that well, there's no mention of boost pumps here. Where's the crossfeed? Right, gotcha Zato. So there you go. So these 2 boost pumps are on here, or these 4 boost pumps are on, forward and aft, in the number 2 tank, and that's then drinking the fuel. Zato saying all engines will be fed by the centre tank, he says. And then I suppose they're off because they're not then being used at the moment, but that's where the auto balancing comes into play. So if we weren't flying the aeroplane, we would basically we would just be sitting here watching all this intently. Not sure why the hydraulic elect pump's off though, unless they turn one off. So if one then faults and fails, they haven't used and overheated the other one, maybe. I don't know. It's a lot, isn't it? It's a hell of a lot to get your head around. Landing altitude. Pop that down. Set that ourselves. I'll just pop that on 20. Yeah, that's what the crew manager's doing. He's balancing all the fuel for us. And you can kind of sit and watch all of it, basically. And to try and begin to understand how this thing flies. Bearing in mind the 737 is an old aeroplane, this is so much more hands-on, and it's a very similar era as well, isn't it? So, quite peculiar. It's always ready to try and trip you up. Waypoint 4 in 70 miles, so we've got a bit of time still. Good, I like it. It's not something to necessarily be really kind of scared of though, it's worth saying. It's one of those aeroplanes that you do start to get the hang of. I mean, you know, when I first jumped into this I had no clue, 4 flights ago, how to fly the aeroplane, how to manage any of the systems, do very much of it, and 4 flights later, hopefully it looks like I'm a little bit more confident with it and I'm getting my head around various elements of it and looking somewhat competent. Mateo, welcome, says Santa Marta. It's quite the short runway. One Vision jet ended up on the beach last year. My goodness. Yeah, I thought the short runway would be a bit of a tricky one. Zato says the FSS 727 is as good as the XJS 727 and X plane, or the what was it called? FlyJ Sim F727. It's just as good as the FlyJ Sim 727 and X plane. Zato says, but it's got multiple options though, realistic sounds and great detail, and an interior unlike the FlyJ Sim 727. So this one actually is better by the sounds of it. Philip, welcome on board. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. Good to see you. Who else is taking the plunge with this snazzy, ready to try and kill you at a moment's notice dryjet? Just over halfway MPS. A lot of cloud above here today. I think one of the liveries, by the way, is... which one is it? Can't remember the name of it now. Might be the Amerijet actually. It's got like it's got wingtips. There is an option for it, I believe, but I haven't tried it. So noisy. Just going back to this circling approach, I'm trying to think of a better way to kind of demonstrate this with my amazing drawings. What do we do? So that's going to be 012 to 60 ME. So actually, it's going to be a bit more like... oh, I'm so bad at drawing these lines on this thing. We're going to go kind of more direct there, and at this point, at 6 miles, well, that says 7.5. Yes. That's 6 miles there. Looking at the coastline. So that's actually going to help us. This coastline that runs through our flight during the final approach, basically as we touch the water, that's where we're going to then break off and begin our circling procedure. So we'll head for about a minute out that way, which we thought earlier was about 3... What was it going to be? 320, 315. I might set 315 just to give myself a bit more width. There we go, 315. And then we're going to fly opposite direction to the runway. Basically turning there where we intercept the edge of that runway there. Onto a downwind. And we'll continue on the downwind until we are abeam the threshold, where we will then begin turning. It's going to be really quite tricky. And at this point, I think I'm going to want to be at about 1,000 feet. And around this point, 1,500. But that's just a rough drawing, just to show you roughly where it is. It's not to scale, Nox Gaming, it's just to demonstrate. In reality, like Nox is saying, we'd probably, this arrow is going to come out over here somewhere. But we won't know for sure until we actually start the process. But yeah, ignore the scale of the drawing. Just more of a, that's just more of an illustrative example of how it's going to roughly look for a circling approach, just so I can draw some of it. One thing we can do actually is look at Utgon, because on the... Gee whiz! Zoom zoom, there goes the BA-146. Wow! What are we doing? Oh, I forgot. That was an absolute rocket ship. Oh, there we go. So that's 5 miles away, which is roughly kind of where we're going to be. So realistically, this gap here is going to be around 5 miles wide. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense anyway, but it's now infinitely more difficult than we initially planned for. Who put afterburners on their OPUs, JFoot says. Yeah, I've got no idea what they're doing. We've got FedEx 5 Lima Mike now appeared on my on my Volanta as well, but I can't see anyone else. And that aeroplane, it's not even on Volanta. Okay, waypoint 4. The next waypoint after 4 is 5, and that is going to be our top of descent. We've added that in as a reminder just for you watching if you just tuned in. We've added waypoint 5 in as a waypoint for our top of descent. So we've started off there with sequence 1. We've worked through to 9. We've started again at 1. We're now going to that top of descent. Put in that waypoint just so we've got a reference of where that roughly is in the sky around us. Nox Gamer says all this needs is a weather and electric VSD with TCAS. It would be good, wouldn't it? Some more modern avionics and things. Can't you use Navigraph to find the coordinates of Utgon? Well, I've tried, but it doesn't appear anywhere. I can't see where that is. Oh, actually, I know what you mean. I could. You mean in this section here, couldn't I? I could scroll in. I could click that. There's the coordinates. Oh, crikey, it's top descent. What do you want to see, folks? Let us know very quickly in the live chat. Do you want to see us add in Utgon as a waypoint, or do you want to see us just commit to this circling approach? Flight, current, 1500, target, start now. Woo! Almost missed it. Throttle back. And the descent begins. Proper old school, Matthew says. Let's do the circling approach. I'll give it a go. I'll give it a bash. I'm quite comfortable with those in the 737 and the A320s especially, because that fly-by-wire system really helps you, doesn't it? But in this thing, oof, no idea. Strap in. We might be going for a swim. What's waypoint 6 on our second sequence? Darney. And then we've got Anlook. But we're not. We're doing Anlook at 4,500. So we can just intervene with this if we wish. We can press manage descent stop, and then we can go into vertical speed mode, because the aeroplane, what it does, and I'm not a fan of this either because it's a bit hacky it seems, but when you stop that it then levels off the aeroplane before you go into vertical speed. You should be able to just intervene and then it automatically stops this, but it seems to be locked for me at the moment, and I don't seem to have that ability to control it. I'm just going to increase the rate of descent to 1800 foot per minute, and then we'll get rid of the managed descent thing. Living on a player, good morning. Good to see you, mate. There's the mountains that are going to be to the right hand side of Santa Marta Airport, and Santa Marta below all that cloud over there. So what have we got? We've got minimum set, we've got the current QNH at the moment at Santa Marta. Simon Bolivar International is 1014 now, I think, isn't it? So I'm going to pop this one to 1014. There's the new QNH. 180 at 9, variable winds 120 to 220 degrees. All the 9s, broken cloud at 1500, above ground level broken at 7000, temperature 27, dew point 24, QNH 1014. Should be doing it for us, Knox. We've set the landing altitude. I did it earlier in the cruise, you might have missed it. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. I hope you've got faith in me, folks. I'm lacking it today, and I'm post-night shift brain as well. Zata says someone called the ambulance and the fire truck and MD-11 is about to overrun a runway. You'll probably land on top of me floating around in the water. And we're also not going to use... We can use auto brakes. We could whack it on max if we wanted to. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it disarmed. I'm going to use my toe brakes on the rudder pedals instead. And again, like the touchdown tutorial video that I did for this that are now on the channel, we can, well, when we touch down, we're going to idle the throttles, and then as the main wheels touch down, we're going to open the speed brake manually ourselves. So I'm going to grab my speed brake lever, pull it all the way back, and then we're also going to engage the reverse thrust, and then begin manual brakes. And we'll probably use the majority of the runway to decelerate. If we need to go around, then I need to hit the go around button, which is there, which is the same as hitting these go around switches. It was the toga keybind, so I could just press the toga keybind on my throttles, and that will tell the aeroplane that we're going around, and then we would set go around power, gear up, flap 15, and we'll just kind of climb away and try and fight the aeroplane. Ryan, I've still got majority of my hardware, yes. I've carried over my MD-11 profile for my Bravo throttle, but they, for some reason, they do they use the toggle gear button for the landing gear, which I just don't understand. Instead of landing gear down, landing gear up, it's toggle, which for me on my Honeycomb Bravo, I can't seem to get to work properly. 61 miles. Waypoint 6 to waypoint 7 is... Oh, we're inbound and look. So we've got 46 miles to go. There. Let's increase that rate of descent. I find this isn't quite enough, I don't think. It doesn't seem to calculate it quite nicely. And I always find that it ends up bringing you in far too low. Far too high, sorry. So we're actually doing the Darney 1 Charlie arrival, VOR 01, circle 19. Now we're going towards Antelope, I think. We've got 40 miles to Antelope. Radio altimeters are set, 1500 set there on the box. $16,000. Let's get the local QNH set 1014 and the standby instrument, that matches jolly good. I could probably see myself just hand flying the entire circling approach. I might use heading. Oh, there we go. Knox, thanks for checking. It's not in. That must be in the full checklist system, but it's not in this checklist, which is actually then quite confusing to see that there, but no mention of it in this. So that'll be why that's the case. Luke Plant says, are you using the Boeing yoke because you can use toggle landing gear on that? I have got that, yes, but I've deactivated that as a keybind. But that's also just an up-down click switch, isn't it? Which should be the same as the Honeycomb Bravo, but not sure. I've ended up resorting to basically using my scroll wheel to lower and retract gear. $12,000 feet. Going to bring throttle to idle now. If we go any lower than this, it gives us an audible warning. It's like a flight idle there. Is there any descent stuff there? Seatbelt solder harness check, seatbelt and no smoking sign on. Anti-ice as required, brake pressure check, gear lever check, arrival briefing, we've completed that already at good length. Altimeters set, cross-checked, we've done that. Landing data weaker and AS bugs set and checked. So that's all in here. Landing. Flaps 30. Set EPA. Set speeds. Luke, yeah, I think you might have missed most of the stream then. Go and check out, at least after this, definitely go and check out my tutorial videos, or even the preview video, because it goes into quite a lot of depth about using the crew manager and how that basically helps your workload quite significantly. Through 10, just going to bring that rate of descent down. To help us decelerate there through 250. Landing lights, signs, good. And you'll find now we're decelerating quite slowly, and the aeroplane's probably looking or feeling a bit slippery. We can't really do much about that. Bearing in mind we've got 27 miles to go now to Antelope, we're going to have to think about... well, actually we've got 17 miles to Antelope. We're going to have to think about sorting out the... Where is it? That's 6 to 7. 7's going to be 8 to the airport. I'll leave that carousel on 8 just as a reminder. 25 miles to Santa Marta VOR. Yeah, you can use the horn cutout. Which is there. Pop out speed brake a bit. Luke, we've already covered that as well, yes. It's got a GTN 750. Bit of support in there. Right, 12 miles. My workload's going to go through the roof now, folks. Sorry if I missed the chat. Heading, that's all good. We're now going to go to turn knob. Heading select is engaged. Heading mode's on the mode selector switch. And we're going to maintain this, which is Antelope. We've got one dial to go anyway, and then we'll be inbound Santa Marta, so actually that's even better. Let's go, heading. Begin to establish on that inbound course. Let's go. A bit more speed brake. And a bit more rated descent. We're a bit high, a bit fast. Ian, welcome buddy. G'day. Got the new Deadpool movie. Awesome. Santa Marta traffic, Aerosucre 165, so Boeing 727 inbound, 6,000 feet, QNH 1014, inbound the Santa Marta VOR, or the circling approach 19, will report braking off the final. Workload's too high, I'm already messing up. Lots of trim. So we're going to go.
Santa Marta traffic, Aerosucre 11, 4036.
We need to do a waypoint change now because it's recognised we're now going away, so we're going to go 0.
16. Correction 19.
Waypoint change 0, 8, insert. So 20 miles to the airport. So I've asked it to now basically look for how far we've got to go. Round off our descent there a bit, so we're just going to bring our rate of descent down to a bit more of a calmer figure. Oh boy. 60 ME from the Santa Marta VOR. It's going to be 4 mile final, I think, if I've got that roughly right. I've got no idea what to expect here. Where's the crew manager gone? Approach. Start the approach checks. Still having to use, look how slippy this aeroplane is. Still having to use the speed brake. The airport's over there somewhere. Awesome landscape. We'll leave that phone there for now. Santa Marta 5 miles. So there's the runway, that tiny little thing right in the middle of your screen there. And we're going to break off just as we cross that bit of land. So I'm going to stick with heading mode actually. Bring that rate of descent down a bit. Speed's good, flaps 5 I think. Speed brake's retracted. Look at this. Speed. Crikey. Do a little bit of a right turn here. We're about to cross the VOR, but actually we've come a bit wide with a bit of drift here, getting a bit distracted. Into the rain. Let's keep the nose coming down a bit more. The rate of descent, 180 is good. Let's set that. That'll do us. We've crossed the VOR now anyway. And let's go flap 15. And then we're going to set 012 just for now. 2 miles. Cali traffic, Aerosucre 165s over the Santa Marta VOR. Inbound VOR 01, circle to land 19. We'll report braking off to the downwind. What have we got? Oops. Interesting. Alt select isn't working there. So with that in mind, autopilot off. It's already now being problematic with us. Can't take the risk. 1600, that'll do. 5 miles, maintaining that as best as we can. There's the runway. Braking off. 160. What do we got? Lights, signs. Jeez! Time to fly this beast. Look at this. Lovely. There's the runway. Look how tiny it is. And in that little bit of moment. Of course it would. It's trying to trip us up already. Going to drop down to about
Santa Marta traffic, FedEx 5 Lima Mike will hold at U-turn 113.
I'm going to pop the flight director off because it's no good to us at the moment now. Got a whole lot of gumph. There's the threshold. There's some ships that actually probably help us with our alignment of the approach a little bit as well. Just make sure we've got all this sorted out. And then we're going to now head inbound 6 degrees.
Traffic Aerosucre 114X inbound and sub expecting circling 19.
Landing gear. That's now going to trigger the flight engineer to do the landing gear checks for us, which is basically gear down. We're going to configure the jet for the approach. Got to pause the music as well. Look how high my workload is, folks. Thoughts and prayers? Thoughts and prayers? Looks great, doesn't it?
146, FedEx 5 Lima Mike is behind you and will hold at U-turn.
Oh, weird. The transition altitudes just reset. What we got? Gonna hold about there, 1,100 feet. Point and pray, Willie, absolutely. Okay, let's set now. Final flaps 30. 160, bit of power, pitch and power, pitch and power. Just having to retrim, fight the plane a little bit here. Okay, now final approach. Let's hope I've timed this right. We're about to find out. There'll be a bit of climb there on the artificial, the vertical speed indicator. Let's rectify that. And let's see, where are we at? Where are we at? The window shading things have definitely helped. Is that the runway? It might be. Keeping a come in. 187 I think is what we want, so I'm just going to set that. Oops. And Santa Marta traffic, Aerosucre 165 is turning final visual approach, circling 189. Which is about there.
And traffic up for 114.
The boss, thank you, buddy.
Going to be
Speed's high.
widening our turn for about circling 19.
Just going to bring it in here because of the hills. So it brings us in a bit tight. We don't really have a choice because our final approach is too tight through the hills there. So bringing it in alongside this, there's the runway. It's indicating us a tad high there, so let's just sort this out. Our final approach speed now is definitely needed. So let's get it down to about 140.
Santa Marta traffic, FedEx 5 Lima Mike leaving the hold.
Turning.
Continue the INP runway 19. Santa Marta traffic.
Aerosucre! Just gonna plop this onto 4,000 just so I've got something to bug out if I have to go around. Here we go. super short. It's going to be probably a firm landing, folks. I can't afford to flare because we'll run out of runway. So we're going to, towards the end, probably have 3 red on the...
Aerosucre 1146 inbound, initial approach 6, Santa Marta traffic.
Santa Marta, Aerosucre 165, short final 19 visual. It probably isn't Sucre. Oh, I thought it was Sucre. I didn't know. Here we go.
Traffic be advised, final approach Teikof Scenery 1146, 146, 186 knots.
Come on! Speed brake deployed, reversers. Everybody scream, brakes. Come on, girl. 60 knots. Let's get rid of the reversers. Woo! Buzzing.
Santa Marta traffic Osprey 1146, field in sight, estimated 10 mile of final, runway 16.
Crikey, got to backtrack. And Santa Marta traffic Aerosucre 165, so going to be backtracking runway 19er. Hopefully you're at final approach speed there, Zato matey. Oh wow! Look at that! That's in the scenery by the Teikof Studios. Look at that! That's actually quite cool. That train. How distracting! 246 foot per minute there. Look at that. Oh, I'm happy with that. That's cracking. 1.28 G. Now we get to race the train. Okay, flaps. It's just warning us there because we've got power at a high setting. And I'm going to keep offset just in case Zato's looking at the approach. Just go after landing, so slats, speed brake, flaps all set to 0. The flight engineer is now going to work at sorting out the pressurization systems and the APU, and this is where, when I say there's too much to do, there is quite a lot to do. Oh, very short finals. That's very short finals. I'll try and get off.
They're still going back in bed.
This is real Aerosucre ops. Jeez. I think this counts as vacated.
Thank you, Osprey 1146, a very short final, roll the trucks.
Okay, brakes. Adrian, welcome. Bloody tail's in the way. That looked very short and firm, but he's down. The question is he going to stop? Oh my god. Oh, that's a lot of speed. Oh! Jeez. Better start reversing.
Just about, Osprey 1146 landed.
FedEx 5 Lima
What have we got here?
turning base for runway 19.
Oh.
Okay, and Osprey 1146 is going to be reversing runway 012 for a to try and vacate.
I've got no idea where this parking space is. I'm hoping it's there. It might be that one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've selected 6. Hopefully it's 6. Let's get out of the way of everybody anyway. Lights. Turn off and strobes. Epic. BA 146 there. Now we can pop the taxi lights off. There we go, 6, lovely job.
It's 5 in my visual and turning final runway 19.
There's somebody on downwind there. That's a great approach. How scenic was that? And how tricky as well. Did it look tough? Hopefully it looks a bit difficult, but not too difficult.
With the power back, we are
did it
clear
right, I
runway
think.
19.
Lots of you thinking I did quite a good job there by the looks of it, which is great. Robert, welcome buddy. Thank you very much. Joining us as a bronze frequent flyer. Come on. Quickly park, I want to catch the next landing. There's the developer of this scenery, Teikof. Ah, yeah. Wave at me. Go on. Go on, wiggle your sticks. Oh, it's well over. You know what, that'll do. Gonna get her sacked. And we're gonna go 3, bosh. Beacon off. Crew manager, secure cockpit. And then we're gonna go GSX. Request deboarding. Oh my goodness. Beep, 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 beep. Here comes the next challenger in an MD-11. In a FedEx MD-11. Whoa, he's going around. It's a sexy livery, isn't it, Jeff? Let's get the doors open and the DB Cooper entry point and exit point. Black, sir. Get your high vis on. No. Mind your head. You can control this door from the inside of the aeroplane as well. Oh hey! We need a route for tomorrow, folks, by the way. We're going to be in the MD-11. Not that one, that's a BA 146. The other side of it. But we're going to be in the MD-11, and I want to know where roughly in the world you might want to see us fly around. We could do Princess Juliana. We could do somewhere in Europe, potentially. You'd have to let us know in the comments or the live chat what you fancy. If you've got any route suggestions, I'd be very grateful of it. Same time as always, French toast. Next one's on final. Oh, it's a 777. My goodness. I think it's in Sim Market as well, MPS Gaming. Zato reckons we should do Kaitak of some sort in the MD-11. Whoa, that looks spicy. Flying Panther says Paro in the MD-11. That would be impossible. This is not the music for this. He's going around. Brian says Aberdeen to Keflavik. Crikey. I mean, we only just made it with an element of safety, like a safety margin for us to use, but my goodness, I think anyone else would be struggling with these bigger jets. Captain Cabal, it is, buddy. Yes, we've now got the MD-11 added to New Sky with our virtual airline client, so you can now fly for Osprey Airways in the MD-11. London to Athens, he says, would be a nice flight. French toast. We've done that a lot recently, so people would probably want to see a bit of a break from the London-Athens route. We've smashed that with the 777, for example, recently. I mean, this is a hands-on jet, but overwhelmingly I'm a lot more impressed with this than I am with the E-jets, because the E-jets are so lacking in features still. Let's go and have a look at that train. Fair enough, MPS. Yeah, I think a lot of the Teikof sceneries might only be available in the marketplace. That train track goes all the way over there. Where's he gone? Here he comes. It's 50 euros, Andrea, or 52 US dollars, I believe. Frankfurt to Dublin, Badger says. And while we watch the train go past, I'm just going to try and work out where these aeroplanes might be. My goodness, Daniel's very high. You want to be 1,000 feet round that, or go beyond this first ridge and come round through that gap in the valley. The MD-11's gone right back out to do a proper missed approach. This train's doing some weird things. Oh, looks like he's got it back on profile. 32, me too. Looks like he's got this. Tickle the fence and touch the numbers. Bosh! Look at that. The other vintage livery for the 777. There's another one for you, Jeff. Look at that. Crikey! Stopped on a sixpence. So it goes in a loop, which means it kind of zooms off over that way somewhere as well, the train. You've got all of that included down the bottom there as well, that kind of port area in this scenery. The train might need a bit of a fix, potentially. It's all over the place. Look at this tiny little airport, it's great. So yeah, it's available now, the FSS 727-200 freighter. The passenger version is going to be out over the next few months, apparently, about 2 to 3 months, apparently. But we'll have to wait and see. But that's when they're looking at releasing a passenger version of this aeroplane. Apron's looking a bit full, isn't it? Yeah, as I said before, overwhelmingly impressed with what is an enjoyable old school aeroplane in the 727. It's nice to see lots of liveries included, like the good old famous Aerosucre, And it gives us good reason to kind of explore and experiment around the world at some spicy locations like this, which we can just about get into. Teikof Studio says that Santa Marta and SKPS are currently marketplace exclusive for now. I'm not sure how you've created them, Teikof, but it would be worth having a look at exploring Contrail to see if you can get some of these sceneries put into the Contrail web shop, perhaps. Quite cool, really good little marketplace. Nice bit of interior, nice texturing there on that bit of building, that's fantastic, really cool. Yeah, $10, is that all it is? Well, AJ Fanani, sorry. $10 is great. I think if this was on Contrail for $10, people would be absolutely loving it. O'Neill, I've flown I think once or twice to Jamaica, but I can't remember when we last visited. To have a quick progress check on that MD-11, see where he's at. He's downwind, which is on Volanta, which means he's probably... he's on final. Good luck. The shadow of a trijet. God, it looks fast. That thing is so fast on final approach, it's actually scary. Oh yes, the broken auto throttle Zato. That's when we went to Jamaica in the A300. Well remembered. We need like a drum roll sound effect now, don't we? If you've enjoyed today's live stream, press the like button if you've not already done so. And if you want to see more 727 content, do let us know what your thoughts might be. Hopefully, it depends if Zato's going to purchase it, but hopefully we might be able to get some vintage livery painted for it or something as well. Something pretty snazzy. Tickle the fence. Bosh! On the keys. Captain Cabal and Jeff also there saying SKMZ. Just try landing at Teikof's SKMZ. It's definitely a challenge, it says there. He's down. Maximum auto brake, I assume, there as well. Good effort. Zart says he's going to wait for the 727 to come to Contrail, then I'll get started on paints. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, as we said before, it's currently exclusively available today. Just been launched today via Aerosucre, but if you can hold your horses and wait, you can purchase it on Contrail in a week's time. And if you haven't already done so, if you've never used the discount code that we've got here for the channel, bear with me, I'll just get it and put it in the live chat. It will get you an additional 10% off via Contrail. So if you go to contrail.shop/BritishAvGeek, there we go, in the live chat. Contrail.shop/BritishAvGeek and use the code there, AF-796-22269. You get 10% off your order. So if it is $42 US, you'd then get a couple of quid off that as well, which is pretty cool. But there we go. A massive thank you to everybody who's watched today, tuned in, and hopefully enjoying the launch day of the new FSS 727-200 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Great to see lots of you flying along, and a big thanks to Teikof Studio for sending me some really nice Colombian scenery to really kind of immerse ourselves in some Aerosucre life today. But in the meantime, as always, thank you very much for watching. We've survived! And I'll see you tomorrow for some TFDI Designs MD-11 action. Take care. Enjoy the rest of the day. See you tomorrow.